Alright, so the big part of 1.4 is Venn diagrams, and using Venn diagrams and applications is what we're going to get to. So we're going to start off with introducing 2 set Venn diagrams, and then we'll get to 3 sets. So 2 set Venn diagrams. So what we mean by a Venn diagram, it's a way to visually organize multiple sets of information and subsets. And so what we usually do is the rectangle is the big set. All right, which again, we often will label this S. So that would be the set. It would be everything under consideration. So that's all the elements in a problem. All right, that's the big set. And then sets A and B would be subsets. All right, A would be a subset of S, B would be a subset of S. All right, and then what you do is, well, you draw the circles in such a way where there's this overlap. So you'll see circle A is the blue circle, circle B is so set A. And so you would put all the elements of A in circle A. So that would be, again, where you'd start. You'd go, all right, all of the elements in A would go here. So whatever they were, they'd all go here. Some of the elements of A could be shared with B. All right, and so I go to my circle B, and B would be every element in B. Would be in the red circle. And then you'll notice there's this overlap. There's this overlap here. And so that overlap would be the area. So that area in the middle here would be everything in set A and B. That would be that overlap. That's the overlap. All right, everything in A and B. The shaded area, the total shaded area, which includes the B red and the A blue, would be everything in A or B. This area on the outside, this white sort of area on the outside, would be everything that's not in A or B. Everything from my group S that is not in group A or group B. All right, everything that's sort of left over. All right, and that's what the Venn diagram is. All right. So we're going to shade in specific portions of the Venn diagram just so that we understand the region, because that's important. All right, so I want to shade in the region that represents those that are not in set A. So everything that's not in circle A, everything that's not in circle A is going to get shaded. All right, so basically I just stay on the outside edge. It can be in B as long as it's in B and not in A. So this would be the region in B but not in A. And then it would also include everything outside of that circle A, would be that outside area. So again, everything in S and not in A. All right, so that would be all of those not in set A. All right, the next part. Shade the region that represents the elements that are in set B. So we're in set B, but not in set A. So first of all, you start with where you want to be. We want to be in circle B, but not in circle A. All right, so I want to start out in circle B, but I don't want to be in circle A. And so instead of shading everything, it is just this piece. Whatever's inside this sort of moon-shaped piece here, that's all I want. All right, everything that's in B, but not in A. So anybody that shows up there would be in set B, but not set A. And I want to add sort of a little part to this because there is a question on your homework, so sort of a part C. Homework. We didn't really talk about it. I did briefly, but disjoint sets. They do have a question on disjoint sets. Disjoint set means there is no overlap. Meaning A is disjoint from B if they do not share any elements. And so if we did draw the Venn diagram, well, that we would draw them without overlapping. So circle A would be here, circle B would be there, and there's no overlap because they don't share anything. So if I'm in A, I'm not in B, and if I'm in B, I'm not in A. So something like if A was the group 1, 2, 3, and B was the group 5, 7, 8, they never overlap. 1, 2, 3 would be here. 5, 7, 8 would be there, and they share nothing in common. So there's no and statement. The and statement is empty. They don't share anything. All right, and so just kind of be aware if there is a question like that on the homework. All right, so let's look at some applications to set Venn diagrams and surveys. So we'll do the first example in this, and then I'll do the next two in the next video, just sort of split them up. All right, to set Venn diagrams. So I've got a group of students, surveys. So that would be my big group. Whoever I'm surveying, that would be group S. So I have a group of students who are asked what they are studying. So G stands for they're studying geography. H stands for they're studying history. All right, the responses were given in a Venn diagram below. All right, so the green circle are all of those students who said that they were studying geography. The orange circle is all of those who are studying history. All right, so if we look at our circle here, you'll notice, if we can kind of figure this out, 12 people are in the middle wedge. That means they studied both. 9 people are outside of both circles, so 9 people said they didn't study either. 6 is in the geography circle, but only the geography circle, so they only studied geography. And 5 is only in the history circle, so they only studied history. That's sort of where we're at. So 12 would be the and so on. So based on that, we should be able to answer the following question. So the Venn diagram is a way to organize our survey, organize our information into the different groups we're looking for. All right. So based on the Venn diagram, can you answer the following questions? The first question is, how many students said they studied geography? So that means I should be in the green circle. All right? Those are all of those in the green circle. All right, well, there were 6 that only studied geometry and 12 that studied both. And so you do take the 6 plus the 12, and so that means 18 students said they were studying geography. 6 of the 18 only geography, 12 of the 18 also history. All right, same question, but now the history question. So that's everybody in the geography circle. So the next one is the history circle. So I want to know how many people are in the history circle. All right, so we're looking at the orange circle, history circle. All right, so that would be the 5 that only study history plus the 12 that studied both history and geography. So it would be 5 plus 12. And so there were 17 students that studied history. All right, next question, how many studied geography and history? So how many students showed up in both sets? That's what's asking. How many students, when they took the survey, answered yes to geography and at the same time yes to history? Well, that's that overlap, right? That's the 12 that showed up in both, right? We're in both circles. Well, 12 students were in both circles. How many students did not study geography? So we are not in the G circle. And the not is often the harder one because a lot of times students will forget that we are outside this G circle. So when we're outside the G circle, remember that's everything outside the G circle. And so there are 2 parts. There is the part that's in the history circle, the 5 that's in the history circle. And then don't forget this 9 out here that is not in either circle. And so the answer to that is 5 plus 9. And so there were 14 students who said they weren't going to study geography. All right, 14 students total. We're not going to, 5 of them studied history and none of them didn't study either subject. All right, now the or statement. All right, the or statement. All right, we want geography or history. So I can be in one circle. I'm going to erase the yellow that I had up here. Or I can be in the history circle. All right, geography or history. And so now I can be in either circle. I can be in the geography circle or I can be in the history circle. And so I get to include everybody from both circles, even the 12 in the overlap, but I only include them one time, right? So there's 12 people who studied both. So 6 who studied only geography, 12 who studied both, and 5 who studied only history. And then we add them up. Those are all of the students who studied one or the other subject that were asked. And so when we take our 6, 12, and 5, that adds up to 23 students. All right, the next question, how many students studied neither? Neither means not history and not geography. So it's the opposite, exact opposite of the last question. We are not in the history circle and we are not in the geography circle. Well, that's those 9 students out here, right? Not in either one of those. And so 9 students did not study either one. Now, they might have studied something else, but they didn't study either one of those 2 in the survey. All right, the last question. How many students were surveyed? All right, so that goes with that one. So this would be our total. Well, then we add all the numbers. All the students. All right, so we go up to our circles and we'll add all the numbers. The 9 outside, the 5 here, the 12 in the overlap, and the 6 all together. And so 6, 12, 5, and 9 are all of the students we were surveyed. So 6 plus 12 plus 5 plus 9. And so when we add those together, there were 32 students total who fell in one of the 2 groups or outside of the group. All right, 16 students total. We'll do 2. So that's sort of an example, an application of 2 set Venn diagrams. We'll do more examples in the next video.